What's going on, Jeromes? The search for the next Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator has been dragging along. So they completed 4 interviews with Brian Flores, Sean Desai, Mike Pettin, as well as Ryan Nielsen, the former Saints co-defensive coordinator who took the Atlanta Falcons DC job. But the question is, why? Why is it taking so long for Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi to pick the next defensive coordinator? Well, there's one reason. There's one secret trick that In-N-Out Burger doesn't want you to know. There's one reason why. I think that is pretty clear just reading the tea leaves, and it's that Brian Flores is the number one option. And I think that's pretty obvious by the way that things are going down. And Flores, a former Dolphins head coach, currently the Pittsburgh special assistant to Mike Tomlin, also working with the linebackers. But of course, Flores is up for the Cardinals job. And new GM Monty Ossenfort and owner Michael Bidwell, they haven't decided what is going to happen yet as they decide between Flores, as they decide between Sean Payton, as they decide between Vance Joseph of Vance Refrigeration. Who really knows what's going to go on there? But I think it is pretty obvious that Flores is the domino that is going to have to fall in the Vikings DC search, because if he gets the Cardinals job, obviously he's not coming to Minnesota. But if he doesn't, and they go in a different direction, or Flores is under the impression that he's not going to get the job, maybe that's when things start opening up right now. Because currently, I mean, the Vikings DC candidates are running out of options. So Sean Desai interviewed in Miami, which is still vacant, but it does seem like Mike McDaniel is all in on Vic Fangio. Oh, and what's really funny is just as we were recording this, the Dolphins officially hired Vic Fangio as their DC. So Sean Desai is out of other options besides the Vikings in terms of jobs he's interviewed for. We'll see what happens. But a lot like how the Vikings ended up with Ed Donatel last offseason, everyone wants a little bit of the Vic Fangio flavor that you savor. And if you can't get the real thing, you try to order it from Wish. And that's what happened with Ed Donatel last year. Sean Desai worked very closely with Ed Donatel as well as Vic Fangio in Chicago. So that's why he's in the mix in Miami. But the Cleveland job has already been filled by Jim Schwartz. The Atlanta job has already been filled by Ryan Nielsen, which Flores also interviewed for. So Flores is basically down to the Arizona head coaching job and the Vikings DC. Desai, it's Minnesota and Miami. And Pettin's just sitting there chilling out, because 100%, like, soon as Pettin got his name in the ring, I was like, that is the fallback option. That is the option of, hey, if they miss out on Nielsen, if they miss out on Flores, if they miss out on Desai, they'll just be like, hey, Pettin. Yeah. You know, the guy who's on staff last year, who probably should have took over play calling from Ed Donatel midseason, but didn't happen. And I know that's going to be unpalatable to a lot of Vikings fans. It sort of is what it is. He was obviously part of the defense, so he's part of the problem last year. To a degree, yes. But I do think that given the options, I think that if the Vikings do miss out on Flores, which I think clearly is their number one choice and option, and if Desai doesn't work out, and it obviously didn't work out with Nielsen, but also TBD if the Vikings were firmly in on Nielsen. Maybe it was just an interview, and they're just like, whatever, you just take the Falcons job, go ahead. I do think that Pettin is sort of a safe fallback option for Kevin O'Connell, given his history with KOC, as well as his familiarity with the current pieces on the defense, even though this thing's going to be a tear down and rebuild on that side of the ball, man. But I think that it is firmly on Brian Flores right now, and the fact that the Vikings defensive coordinator search has stalled. There hasn't been any news about second interviews. There hasn't been news about new candidates. I think that is firmly like, hey, it's Flores or bust, and if it's not Flores, maybe we'll try Desai, and if poop does hit the fan, Mike Pettin. Yeah, Mike poop hitting the fan Pettin. That's what's happening, man. But your thoughts are the reasoning why the Vikings DC search is taking so long. It's because of this man. Because we're waiting to see if Brian Flores gets the Cardinals head coaching job. But let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.